All right,
Are we good?
we are recording.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is Rene Bohr with my cycling buddy,
Tommy
Tommy O'Donnell, and he was a real speedster today, going over hill and dale on our course. So we are 10 days in, 600 miles of riding. So it's been going well for North Lawndale College Prep in North Lawndale, Chicago.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about today's guest.
All right, so Jackie,
How do you know Jackie?
You're from Chicago area, right? Where are you now? Aurora, is it?
I'm in coordinates of the altitude, latitude. I'm in North Aurora, Illinois, which is about 45 miles away west of Chicago.
Good. Good. Yeah, I mean, how did I first meet you, Jackie? It was through Nicole, I believe, Nicole Martin. And we ended up just having lunch and
Yes,
getting to know each other, and introduced you to my wife, Karen, and that was it.
Excellent.
We've just been in about 5 countries since we met last year. And,
That's
no
right.
big deal.
You've been to 5 countries with Tommy's wife, Karen?
Yeah, they
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Promoting some of her projects. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie,
There
thanks
was a
for
little
joining
bit of a
us.
connection, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thanks for joining us. We've got a great question that's been teed up by one of the students at North Lawndale, Tommesha Davis. And her question is, how do you
All right, hold on.
read the actual question?
I'm going to read the actual question. How about that?
Because this has to deal with productive relationships
Here it comes.
with
And-
your people. So,
Right. So don't answer it quite yet, because we want to kind of get your background and all that. But just as a start thinking about it. So Tommesha Davis asks, how do you determine if the relationship you develop with others is productive and will benefit you?
So have you kind of think about that.
Okay.
But we have some
Perfect.
questions. that
I'll
we're
start
gonna ask.
percolating with those.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Engines
So-
are turning on. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a question we've asked everybody, and just kind of get things started. Give us a little bit of your background. Where you were born, where you're from, and what led us to where we are today. So just a little history on yourself.
Great. Well, are you ready for takeoff?
Already. Absolutely.
Awesome. I was born to 2 entrepreneurial parents, and I always had a passion for reading. I devoured books from Dale Carnegie and Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, since I was a little girl. And I came to the States when I was 14 years old. I didn't speak a word of English when I came. And then picked up English in a year. Then they did something crazy, which was to learn German in English the second year, and ended up becoming a German tutor for a Mexican girl. That was a little bit unusual. And but I really, I loved, the challenge of having a verb all the way at the end of the sentence. And I started my first company when I was 23, which seems like a long time ago, because it was about 13 years ago. And then my second company about 5 years ago, which is an international indie publishing house. And in that journey, I wrote 1 book after surviving cancer. And then I wrote another book and another and another and another and another. 14 books later, here we are sharing inspiration with the world. I started a nonprofit organization 5 years ago to support young Latinas. So I always say that I have 131 daughters on top of my 2 naturally, my natural born children. And some of them call me Mama Jackie, which is kind of an interesting. And I also started a nonprofit in Mexico that allows me to have the entity to build a center for the youth. So we're in the process of creating that and building that to help the community in my hometown. And travel the world to speak, inspire people, create a lot of different products. And 4 years ago, I started flying planes. and I became one of the few Latina sports airplane pilots in the U.S. So I'm officially a pilotina.
There you go.
Pilot plus Latina. I made it
Okay,
up.
I want to rephrase my question, Jackie. What haven't you done? What would
I haven't eaten berries today, which I heard they're really good for you.
There you go.
That's amazing. So sounds like you've got a lot of experiences behind you. What are you working on right now? What's your latest project?
At any given moment, there's a lot of things in the air, which is what makes my life exciting and interesting and challenging at times. But right now, there are two projects that I'm very excited about. One is a program called Young Latina Talks, which is essentially kind of a TED Talk style for young Latinas ages 15 to 25. And I'm going to bring them to a stage, about 10 to 15 young Latinas, and one of them is going to get a $1,000 scholarship after delivering a 5-minute presentation on a given topic. So we're going to coach him, we're going to train him, we're going to get him ready. And then the other one that really makes my heart beat, like my daughter says, is a program called the Young Dreamer Author Program. And essentially, it is a contest that allows 9 to 16-year-olds, or one of them, to basically drive a dream forward and make their dream of becoming an author a reality. So
That's awesome.
It's something very near and dear to my heart because I've always read books since I was a little girl. And just the opportunity, my heart of, through my publishing company to be able to do that for a young person and have him, create a book that is either a children's book, a novel, or a comic book, and make that come to life. And then on top of that, give them a $1,000 scholarship to help them with their college education. Like, to me, that's where the road is the road, right? To help the future generation. So those are two things that I'm like, wow. It's like,
I can only imagine as a kid getting one of your books published or something.
Oh, sure.
How crazy would that be?
So my granddaughter Whitney might be in this competition. So she's pretty creative.
Let me send you the link. I mean, all over the world, I don't care where they are, we're going to make this book come to life and make it happen. And just so excited about it.
Yeah, very cool.
Great.
So Jackie, you mentioned earlier that you came to the U.S. when you were 14 years old and learned English in 1 year and then went on to learn German. Tell us a little bit about your educational experience, because it sounds like education is something you're really passionate about as well. Tell us about your educational experience.
I am, and I went through high school. I got an associate's in marketing and graduated with honors. And during that time, I also was diagnosed with cancer at 21, and then pre-cancer by my liver, pre-cancer level 4, which led to the reconstruction of my entire digestive system when I was 23. So that's around the same time that I started my first marketing company, my first business. And that sort of took me onto the entrepreneurial road. And I didn't have an opportunity to go back and get my bachelor's and my master's. I sort of continued on this path, but now I've gotten, many different certifications and leadership courses and Dale Carnegie training programs. I was awarded the top human relations award by Dale Carnegie through other 35 CEOs at a leadership class, and lots of different things. And currently I'm actually taking a leadership course that is the equivalent of a master's, which is 255 hours here in Chicago. It's taken up, from March through October, 15 books and a lot of things. But what I get my yearning too, because I love school so much and I didn't have an opportunity to go back and, finish up. I did finish up my associate, but I didn't go and pursue any other college degrees because of my situation and becoming an entrepreneur and how that started taking off like fire. I get that from like teaching, like learning, not teaching, but learning about aviation, which has made me officially the coolest nerd that I know because I love aviation. And I like, this is where I get my school, like, because I'm learning constantly. When I'm in the air, when I'm, I'm pursuing my next license. which also it's, it's a lot of ground school and a lot of hours. And so
Yeah.
that's my educational
So it
background.
sounds like you're a lifelong learner.
Yes, that would,
Lifelong
I
learner.
would take that for sure.
Yeah, that education never really stops, does it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So what's the most valuable lesson that you've learned just from all your experiences? What would be a valuable
I could write
lesson?
an encyclopedia about that too, by the way.
Yeah. But we've asked everybody that question, and it's been interesting because of the different kinds of experiences that people have had, and what they thought was most valuable. What would you pass on to the students?
I would say that, one of the things that I always try to pass on to the young girls that I'm connecting with from the foundation is that they have something beautiful inside, and you need to discover that so that you can encapsulate your value and present it to other people. Because in the measure that you're able to understand what you're made of, in the measure that you're able to, encapsulate and package it up, you're then able to share that and create a life of significance, create a life of abundance, because now you're providing something that is very valuable to other people. So that would be the first thing. Look inside, which is my biggest lesson. I was always looking outside. Oh, and if I get that nice house, if I get that nice car, I'll be happy, or I'll achieve my dreams. But then no, my dreams are now. And I got everything that I need inside: my energy, my willingness, my proactive attitude, my magic, my mojo, which, by the way, the definition of mojo is little bag of magic. And I think all of us have it inside. So that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, that I don't need to look outside. I can start looking inside and then, share it with the world.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, very, very cool. Who's had the biggest influence on your life?
I think, so many people, right? I call them angels, and people that come across my path that, might not have important positions, but they're, I feel like everybody's in a battle, whether it would be to survive, whether it be to find the stability and success in their business and their life. And I think, for me, people that are waking up every morning and deciding to take on this battle of being the best they can be every day, sharing and exchanging their energy, to me, that's the biggest influence. Normal people that are doing extraordinary things, that are leading with their hearts, and that are allowing their actions and behaviors to represent their core values.
Yeah. So you kind of look at it as a group of people as opposed to just like one single influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because there's so many people that are so beautiful and amazing that I couldn't.
Oh yeah.
It's like this beautiful soup of core values from different people that I've taken on and adapted and put in my heart and kind of lead with that.
Yep. Very good.
I'm just sitting here jotting down notes, if you wonder why I'm looking down, because I have a great memory, Jackie. It's just short. So I like to jot down notes. So, are we ready? Are you ready for today's question of the day?
All right. So let me reread it.
All right, let's reread it.
So
this is coming from.
We do some dancing. Get ready.
That's it. Yeah. While I read it. All right. Tommesha Davis from North Lawndale. So just to remind everybody, we got a list of questions from the students at North Lawndale College Prep in Chicago. So each day we're asking our guests a list of questions. So the question is, how do you determine if the relationship you develop with others is productive and will benefit you?
Well, I think, first of all, I would love to invent a scanning machine that allows me to read the core values of an individual, so that I don't invest all that time with individuals that don't really add up to, to their expectations.
Yeah, seriously.
I would love to do like scanning. Oh, no trust, no integrity, moving on. But, I approach every relationship not thinking, oh, is this going to be productive, effective? What am I going to get out of it? I approach it in a completely different way. I first connect to their core values. And then I figure out a way, I get myself in their shoes and figure out a way to add value to them. How do I bring to the equation? How do I give? Because you know what?
Yeah.
It's been proven time and time again that when you approach a relationship with a spirit of giving and adding value to them, everything else is going to happen from there. So I don't deem a relationship, oh, it's effective or it's not effective. I deem the relationship as the core connection to the core values and how our frequencies align to be able to converge and make magic happen, right? You have an idea, I have an idea. The setup is fun. The setup is aligned with what we're trying to do. The core values are aligned. And then there's abundance for everyone involved. And that's when you know what? This is a relationship that I don't want to make it transactional. I want to make it an encounter. And every time that I connect with this person, I want to make sure that I elevate that relationship. So that's how I approach it. I don't rate the relationships by 1 through, like the smiley faces, where you, algorithms and all that.
Right.
I just say, my trunk is filled with gifts. My purse is filled with gifts. Every Sunday, I visualize the relationships that I'm going to meet with that week. And I literally think about them. I bring them a thank you card. I bring them a little gift, a little book. And I try to really lead with my heart to make them an encounter so that I can intercept their lives with a little sparkle from my life. Because if I do that, the relationship will continue to move forward and forward and forward. And then, magic is going to happen. I know that because I'm living that every day with, people that are starting out and people that have achieved amazing success. Like Hollywood producers are calling me and saying, how do we collaborate? Like, really? You want to collaborate with me? Then I add the value, right? So that's how I would respond to this very brilliant question, and take it in a different direction so that, you can connect and make authentic relationships.
Yeah. So I'm looking for quotable quotes, and I think I have one here. So you're approaching relationships from a viewpoint of my trunk is filled with gifts that I'm here to give. That I'm here to give, as opposed to I have an empty trunk and I'm looking to fill it with a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And any given day, you'll
great
find
words
books.
to live by.
You'll find books. You'll find teddy bears. You'll find bracelets. Thank you cards. You name it. It's filled with. I should send you a picture of my trunk filled with teddy bears, Tommy, so you can share it.
So you have a literal trunk filled with them.
I do.
That's awesome. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So
Well, we want
to.
So we just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on this journey. So now you're part of our bike ride,
Yeah.
I don't know if Tommy told you that.
Thanks.
Yeah, you got to follow our progress every day as we're making our way across the country.
And you're part of my plane ride history because I have officially completed 98.6 hours of flight, and my husband was my first passenger besides my teddy bear. So
he's a very trusting soul.
It's really a beautiful day to fly. So I checked and they have a plane available. And I said, you know what? I want to go to a sunset flight so that I can get to my 100th hour. And that will happen today. So we're making history. Very exciting.
There you go.
Thank you so much for having me on the show because this is very significant for me. We have a phrase in aviation that says, every takeoff is optional, but every landing is mandatory. So that's my phrase.
All right. Thank you.
Great way to end it.
All right.
Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
Jackie.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jackie.
Good night.
All right.